What's up everyone, it's Hunter here, back with another video, and this week, it's exam week, finals of my first semester of med school. Let's get it. I actually just came out of the very first test of the week, so a little outline. This morning, we just had a summative exam over the 9 lectures that we had last week since our last summative exam. Tomorrow, I have an OMM practical where I'm gonna exhibit my skills from OMM. Thursday, we have an anatomy practical where we have to identify a bunch of the different structures from pictures from cadavers and diagrams. And then on Friday, we have our big cumulative exam that covers all of the content that we've covered over this entire block. So this morning's test, because it was only 1 week's worth of content, it was about half the length of our regular tests, but I did do the best that I've done on an exam so far in med school. So feeling really good about that. I'm gonna go home and kind of relax for a couple hours, maybe take the dogs for a walk, and then get back to it and study this afternoon for my OMM practical tomorrow. Yesterday after the exam, I came home, just kind of relaxed for a couple hours until about noon. Then we took the dogs out for a run at lunchtime. And then we started going through the OMM content. So I've got all these packets here. This is 3 of them. There's actually 7 that we have to know. At least 7 that we have to know for our practical, which I have today at 4 p.m. It's currently 9 a.m. So I'm just kind of going through these packets, making sure that I know everything. And then once I get through these 3, I'm gonna start practicing. I usually like to vocalize things and practice on the dogs. I don't actually do the OMM treatments on them, but just trying to put them in positions. Kaya's usually pretty good about just chilling for me. You can tell she's very excited about it. So I'll probably do that until lunchtime and then go practice with a partner at school for a couple hours and then take the test at 4, and hopefully that goes well for me. All right, all done with all of the labs that we have. So there's 2 reviews and then 6 that we actually have to know for this one. So there's 8 total packets that we had to know. Went through and summarized them all in Notion here, and just in time, Kaya's coming down to be my patient. So it's time to get practicing. It's now 5:30 in that drippy OMM fit again. Just finished my OMM practical and it went all right. We'll talk more when I get home when it's not dark. It's Wednesday afternoon now, just finished up lunch. We've just been studying anatomy stuff all morning because that's the practical that we have tomorrow. But to go over the OMM practical from yesterday, I felt like it went a lot better than my score reflected. I passed, you just needed a 75% to pass. But because it goes towards your grade, it's advantageous to do well, and I got an 80%, so like not super happy about it, but I've been hearing about a lot of different people who have done far worse than that, so I'm just happy that I passed and can move on. It was a little confusing because there were some tests that we've been tested on before that had different protocols this time around, so I didn't think some of the points I lost were all that necessary, but anyways, we're moving on from that. So tomorrow morning at 7:45 a.m. we have, or actually at 8 a.m. we have, all of our tests are typically at 7:45 a.m. but for some reason our practicals are 15 minutes later. So starting at 8 a.m. we have our anatomy practical, 60 questions, just identifying different things from our dissections and different diagrams that they'll have on this electronic exam. So I've taken 3 mock practical tests this morning, and then I have 2 review sessions that I'm going to watch now this afternoon. And then the big one is on Friday. So we're just kind of grinding along through the week. It's really not been too stressful. I feel pretty confident with most of the material. So we're just gonna keep on keeping on and get through the rest of the week.
It's now Thursday morning. It's about 6:45, so I'm getting ready to take the dogs out and then head to school because we have our test in 1 hour for our anatomy practical.
All right, we just finished the anatomy test. It's now 8:42. And I got 2 wrong out of 60. That's a 96, so not feeling too bad about it. Now the task for the day is going to be being productive and not getting sidetracked on social media and different news outlets like I usually do. Gonna sit down, do a bunch of practice questions, Anki cards, grind it out. We got one last exam, 100 points to do tomorrow morning. I would say in 25 hours, I will be officially done with my first semester of med school. So really happy about this anatomy practical. Gonna go home, have some breakfast because I didn't have any before the test, and then we're gonna get to it. It's now test morning. So yesterday I was just going through Anki cards most of the day, and then I did a few practice questions, and then I was realizing that when doing Anki cards, the stuff from the beginning of this block, some of those cards have like a 1 month good interval. So I may not have seen some of the cards from very early on in like 2 weeks. So I know those cards pretty well, which is why I can go 2 weeks to a month without seeing them, but I just want to be sure that I know the content. So starting at like 7 p.m. last night, I just started skimming all of the lectures that will be on our MCT test, because that's the class that I really need to do the best in on this exam. So we're kind of just going through the last few of them right now. It's currently 6:13. I've been up since 4. And the test is at 7:45. So we're just had breakfast already, just skimming through these last few lectures, but we've kind of done everything we can do, just gaining confidence going into the exam, and then we'll take it and see how it goes. And just like that, we are all done. It's just before 10 o'clock, just finished the last cumulative exam for the semester. It went super well, so I'm very content in the final performance of the semester. So I'm just gonna kind of hang out, do a little bit of stuff, answer some emails and things. I've been frequenting the Student Doctor Network forums and answering questions that people have about DMU and throwing out my YouTube channel there. So I'm gonna answer a few questions on there, kind of hang out with the dogs, and then we are gonna have to get packing because we're going back home to Minnesota for the weekend. We spent our weekend in Minnesota, and then we went to Illinois to see Marin's dad. Now I'm out here with the dogs getting in one last little fetch session before we drop them off at the boarding facility, because today, it's now been like a week since that last clip, and today we are now flying to Arizona for Christmas with my family and Marin's. So we're just getting in the last bit of running here out at the field. Overall, great semester. I ended up finishing, all of our grades are now in, which is why I waited to do this outro until now. So I ended up finishing the semester with all A's and 1 B in that MCT class. Just couldn't put in the work for that class. So we've learned a lot through the semester, what works for me. So I think we're feeling pretty good going into next semester, where we start getting into more of our immunology, microbiology, pathophysiology, and all that stuff. So it's been a good one, but I'm gonna relax now for the rest of our winter break, and we'll catch you in the next one.